Member states face deeply interconnected crises: ecological disruption, geopolitical fragmentation, and widening inequalities. Yet institutions often address these realities through isolated administrative silos. International science funding typically follows these rigid departmental lines, rather than the interconnected demands on the ground. The UNESCO Assistant Director General for Science's Strategic Toolkit is designed as a structural intervention to solve this disconnect. The toolkit defines a rigorous architectural framework meant to unify the entire sciences sector around a single strategic identity. Unless disciplines integrate at an operational level, international science policy remains fragmented and lacks the internal logic required to drive national policy. The mandate requires a shift from isolated academic projects towards an integrated strategic delivery portfolio. The framework restructures the sector by connecting the natural sciences with the social and human sciences, using governance, equity, and finance as the load-bearing beams. To make the resulting science actionable, ethics and policy are fused directly into this matrix. The core executive objective is the direct conversion of global scientific influence into measurable, on-the-ground value for member states. Moving from isolated academic outputs towards an integrated global governance model provides the basis for member state scientific sovereignty. Intergovernmental action requires precise authority. Every operational decision must be anchored to a strict legal and diplomatic mandate. That authority derives from two foundational policy documents: the 2022-2029 Medium-Term Strategy and the 43C5 Program and Budget. Programmatic priorities must align with these member state decisions. They cannot be driven by short-term external funding trends. UNESCO has achieved cross-disciplinary success using rigorous mandates in the past, demonstrated by the leadership of figures like Abdus Salam in the basic sciences. A continuous legal and mandate assurance process ensures that institutional innovation remains consistent with approved authority. The framework draws a sharp line between UNESCO's normative commitments and the legitimate policy choices reserved strictly for member states. Strict adherence to normative instruments protects intergovernmental legitimacy while enabling decisive scientific action. Foundational mandates are operationalized through a precise architecture of decision rights and delegated authority. Accountable senior owners guide the process, while a portfolio board continuously reviews strategic fit and resource use. Cross-disciplinary mission teams integrate headquarters, field offices, and regional institutes into a single operational unit. The system operates on the executive principle of proportionate decision-making. Routine operational choices are delegated downward. High-risk partnerships and normative interpretations escalate immediately to senior review. Periodic independent reviews and self-assessments are required to ensure this structure adds value rather than increasing the process burden. This decision architecture prevents parallel silos and aligns executive accountability with project risk. The delivery value chain dictates how abstract programs move through the established governance grid and become physical reality. A mandatory diagnostic phase establishes the policy, institutional, and social baselines before any scientific solutions are prescribed. The system fuses global public goods with tailored national support, mapping how capital flows turn into defined country pathways. Mission teams utilize an adaptive management loop. They review evidence and revise methods midstream while preserving agreed outcomes. Sustainability requires the strict financing prerequisite of full cost budgeting. Extra budgetary projects must explicitly fund administrative, monitoring, and security layers. This prevents hidden liabilities from draining the core organization. Disciplined financial routing and adaptive delivery convert theoretical global strategies into sustainable national capacities. Equity and risk are embedded as foundational structural prerequisites rather than post hoc additions. Historical equity mandates establish the precedent for building inclusion directly into project architecture. Gender equality, youth participation, and indigenous knowledge dictate program design, partner selection, and procurement from day one. Simultaneously, the strategic risk register functions as the organizational immune system. It continuously maps variables like political controversy, scientific uncertainty, and partner conflicts. The framework cultivates a culture where early failures are surfaced without blame, but negligence or concealment is handled firmly. Rigorous structural inclusion and proactive risk management function as the operational safeguards of public trust and institutional resilience. The theoretical blueprint moves into execution through a strictly sequenced executive timeline. The first 100 days are a diagnostic phase to map authority and identify decisions requiring early leadership, formalized in a strategy note. This transitions into a 12-month delivery roadmap that sequences policy work, country support, and resource mobilization. The system requires consistent leadership routines, weekly portfolio attention, monthly risk reviews, and quarterly results dialogues. Sequencing these reforms ensure that institutional credibility grows through demonstrated delivery. The ultimate test of executive leadership is the coherence of the portfolio, not the sheer volume of fragmented activities launched. These institutional systems must continue functioning effectively beyond the tenure of any individual office holder. The goal is to enable member states to build deep domestic scientific capability while participating in a reciprocal, rules-based international system. This comprehensive framework provides the precise mechanism needed to convert the frontiers of science into enduring peace, sustainable development, and global scientific sovereignty.